Hi creators, welcome back to Academic Phoenix Plus. My name is Monica and I am your guide through isometric 3D modeling a cat cafe. In this video tutorial, we're going to continue working on modeling these assets for the cat cafe, including signage, foliage, assets for the cafe, and more. If you're new to this channel, I post tutorials on a weekly basis. Software includes Maya, ZBrush, Substance Painter, and so much more. So if that is your sort of thing, please consider subscribing. So bring out that creativity, open up that software, and let's go ahead and get started. Or let's go ahead and continue modeling assets for this cute cat cafe. All right, this is what we have so far. And I'm very excited because it's definitely looking like a cafe, but we definitely want to add more details. So one of the things I would like to add some sort of signage that's going to say espressos and so on and so forth. So I'm going to go ahead and create a cube, going to V middle mouse and snap this over here. And then let's go ahead and crush it, make it a little longer, something like this that fits in this environment. I might nudge it down a little bit. And then I'm going to grab this face here. I'm going to go ahead and do a Control E, which is extrude, press R, bring it in, grab the one in the center. Let me bring this one in. I'm going to extrude again and then push this in as well. Right, so very simple signage, nothing too fancy. And then with that, I'm going to go ahead and go to my edges. Let's go ahead and bevel, select everything, Control B, increase those segments. If you want to reduce diffraction, I'm only going to reduce it by a little bit. I do want to get that rounded corners. And then when I press the number 3, you have this really nice looking sign. Simple, easy peasy. I feel like it's a little too rounded. So the nice thing about beveling is that the inputs are still right here. So you can click on inputs bevel. And then if you want to, you can reduce diffraction a little bit more. I'm going to go ahead and go for maybe a 0.2 just to make it a little bit more, a little sharper like that. Now I do want to make this feel like a cat cafe. So I want to create something that, you know, little kitties are going to sleep in. So I'm going to make a little cushion. Let's bring this in here. I'm going to bring this up. And I'm going to crush it again, scale it. I'm just going to go ahead and shift right click, insert some edges, and I'm going to add an edge here and an edge there. Now, if you want it to be evenly distributed, I'm going to show you a fancy trick. Let's go ahead and we're going to go to Mesh Tools, insert Edge Loop Tool, go to the options, and I'm going to reset my tool. And you can see that it's supposed to be relative distance, but you can also say multiple edge loops. And in this case, I probably just want 2. And if I do that, you can see that it creates these edges. So I'm going to go ahead and do that on both sides. Don't forget to go back to this tool, which you can over here, and reset your tool, because otherwise you'll be making 2 edges forever. And the reason why I wanted to do this is because they're equal distance to each other. So now I can double click on these, press R, and then scale them away from each other. So I know they're going to be basically in the same distance. Why am I doing this? Because I want to go to the bottom here and make some little legs. So grab these. Control E, extrude, press W, move it down, and there we have it. I'm going to extrude one more time just to make sure I have a little base. Whoops. For whatever reason, I have a face there, so I might have accidentally selected a face. So I'm going to undo, Control Z, and try again. So select, Shift select, Shift select, Shift select. And if you really want to be thorough, you might want to do an isolate select, and that will show you what you have selected, and that is correct. So it would have saved me some time if I had done that earlier. So extrude, bring it down, and then extrude again, Control E, bring it down a little. Again, there's a lot of edges here, but let's go ahead and select these edges, and I only want the ones that need to be beveled. So none of these in the center here, and definitely none of these here either. So I'm going to go ahead and deselect those, and also deselect these. So I'm holding down Control and double clicking, Control B, increase your segments, reduce your fraction. Well, there we go. All right, let's go ahead and make this a little smaller and move it in. Now that doesn't look very comfortable for the poor kitty cat. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this one, duplicate it, Control D, and just use this as a base. So I'm going to press 1 because I still need to tweak it a little bit. Go to my vertices. Let's go ahead and maybe go to the top view here, and I can play around with the scale, and it doesn't have to be perfect because it is going to be a cushion. So then I can squeeze it in, bring it out, and to make it feel even squishier, you might want to grab some edges and push them in. push some of them in, push some of them out, so on and so forth, right? So then it can look a little bit soft. So that can be a little bed for the kitty. And let me grab a vertex here and just kind of nudge one in just to make it look like it's soft. Something soft for the cats to enjoy. All right. Next, another asset I'm going to build is something to the kitties to scratch on. So let's go ahead and grab a cylinder. And I'm going to scale it down, remove the cap. So let's go to the inputs and go to caps and change that to 0. That just makes my life a little easier. Then I'm going to grab the bottom face, grab that one, extrude, and just press R for scale and bring it out. Extrude again, bring it down. Extrude one more time, bring it in. And if you want to get rid of that end gun, you can. So same thing for this one. I'm going to go ahead and grab that top face, extrude, scale, extrude, lift, extrude, scale again. And this is looking a little bit in the big side. So if you hold down control and grab the top one, you can scale in one direction throughout the whole thing. Then I can grab this one and also scale it. And then I need to tweak a little bit the scale of everything. And then I'll add some texture to make it feel like it's a scratching post. But you can see when I press the number 3, it gets really soft. So I need to bevel some edges. So let's go ahead and double click, shift double click, and just select those edges so that we can bevel. Not that edge, this corner edges. Sometimes you got to get really close to the model to be able to get those edges. All right, let's go ahead and bevel, Control B, increase your segments, decrease your fractions, and there we go. All right, I'm going to place that over here. Might have to move that little planter. It's getting a little tight in here. Okay, now for this one, I think since it's still live, I'm going to scale it a little bit and nudge it. And let's create some window sills. So I'm going to grab a cube. Let's go ahead and bring that in, scale it down. Then we're going to bring this in, focus by pressing F. Bring it up a little bit. And now it's just about shaping it. So I can keep trying to scale, but sometimes it's just easier to grab those vertices and place them myself. There we go. And I think that's going to work. So we're going to use the same tool. Let's go to Mesh Tool. We're going to go Insert Edge Loop Tool. And just like before, we're going to use equal multiplier multiple edge loops. Then bring that in. Let's grab those edges and pull them out here. And now we're going to select that face and this face. I'd select because I learned my lesson. And then we're going to extrude. Bring it up all the way up here. Once again, we're going to go ahead and grab the Insert Edge Loop tool, but let's not forget to reset. So let's double click, reset, and I'm going to click once here, click another one here. I'm kind of eyeballing it this time. And let's erase these faces here. So select that face. And then we're going to bridge. So let's double click, shift, double click, click on this little button up here, which is bridge. And there we go. We now have the start of a windowsill. So once again, we're going to do the tool. Let's go to Mesh Tools, Insert Edge Tool Options. And last time, I only said I wanted 2 edge loops. This time I want 4. So we're going to click on that and you can see it created 4 of them, and we're going to do it on the other side as well. So grab that tool and go ahead and place them in. And the purpose for this is that I know that these are equal distance because Maya is awesome. So I'm just going to make sure that I bring these up. Then I'm going to double click on these and bring these down. And then I'm going to do the same thing for these. Double clicking and bringing them down, then double clicking and bringing these up. And just like before, I'm going to select these faces, delete, select these, delete, and now we can bridge. So double click, shift, double click, hit bridge, such a fancy tool, double click, shift, double click, and then bridge. Let's go ahead and grab our tool again. Now, if you notice that I'm constantly going to this mesh tools, you can also go and create a tool here. Right now we have target weld, we have multi-cut. What we want to do is add a tool here. So we can click on that button instead. So if you go to mesh tools and you hold down Control Shift and click on the edge tool, it will pop up right here. So now you can just go ahead and click on that. Now I do want to go to the tools again. This time I only want 2. And I'm going to click here. I'm going to go ahead and move them in. And then I'm going to show you guys a new tool, which is known as the Smart Extrude. So usually we have Extrude, but this one's called Smart Extrude. So if you click on Smart Extrude and you bring it up, you're going to see that it actually intersects through our objects and actually makes a hole. Right? So if I go to object mode and I press the number 3, you can see that it actually merged it all together. Now it doesn't look so hot, and we do have some n-gons that I need to clean up, but in general, that's a great way of getting intersecting geometry really quickly. So that's a relatively new tool. It's a lot of fun. Definitely recommend for you guys to check it out. It's called Smart Extrude. So now I'm using the multi-cut to go ahead and create my quads. Oh, let's not forget the top. So click, click, and then press enter. Don't forget the other side. All right, next let's bevel, because if I press the number 3, it looks like that, right? So we are on edges. Let's go ahead and select everything. If you want to, you can go ahead and deselect these guys. So holding down Control, just go ahead and click and drag. Bevel, increase your segments, maybe decrease this a little bit. And now we have our windowsill. Ta-da! So beautiful. All right, I feel like all of this is too wide, so let me just go ahead and make these a little thinner, just because I do want as much light to go through as possible. And that's a nice thing about 3D, is you can always change it. And maybe tweak this a little bit so it looks a little bit evenly distributed. All right, we got our windowsill. Cool. All right. Next, let's add some more details. So I want a shelf up here because it's just a little too blank. So let's go ahead and create a cube. Let's stretch it, bring it in, focus on it by pressing F, like so. A little bigger. Let's bevel, Control B. Let's make sure the fraction's pretty small, like maybe a 0.2. And now we have this shelf. It's a little big, and there we go. Now, in the shelf, there probably should be something here. So, for example, maybe I should be adding, you know, a lot of coffee shops have coffee grounds. So let's go ahead and make some coffee ground containers, and I'll make sure to add coffee signage on it. So let's go ahead and bring this in. Let's change the cap to 0. Focus if you like. Snap it over here, holding down V, middle mouse. It's a nice little tool. Put it in place. And the bottom should have a little bit of curvature. So let's go ahead and extrude. Rotate it slightly. I'm sorry, scale it slightly. Extrude again. Bring it down a little bit. Scale it again. Something like that. And I'm probably going to insert an edge, but let's go to the options to make sure my tool is reset, and then placing it in here. Gonna add another edge here because I know I'm gonna need that supporting edge. And let's go ahead and extrude, scale in, extrude, lift a little bit, extrude, scale out, extrude, bring it up, extrude, bring it in a little bit, lift it a little bit, extrude again, something like that. All right, the multi-cut tool, let's grab it. And we're just gonna do the same thing. We're just gonna cross, enter, and we're just gonna go across. Make sure it clicks onto the vertex as you use the multi-cut. And then one across. There we go. So we're going to go ahead and place one here, duplicate it, and I'm going to bring one. And like always, you want to push some inward, you want to push some outward, you know, just make sure, because you want to make it feel like that somebody's grabbed it and moved it around and stuff. Let's duplicate this one, and I might put a little planter up here, just a little one. Okay, there we go. Let's see, we haven't done a render in a while. Let's go ahead and take a look at the render cam and let's see what it looks like. Oh yeah, very cute. This one needs to be pushed a little closer. So every bar has the expressos. Let's do the pour over. If you haven't seen it before, it looks something like this. And it's super fun, so we're going to make it, but I need to go to the side view. So I'm going to be using NURBS surfaces again. So let's go ahead and go to Create, Curve, EP Curve tool. I'm going to start from the base, and basically I'm just going to create a line, and then I'm going to curl it up a little bit. Then it's going to go up, and it's not going to be perfect right off the bat, but let me go ahead and, oh my goodness, curl it up this way, go back up, and then something like that. Press enter. Right click, control vertex, and maybe delete some vertices and tweak them so that it looks a little bit smoother. So let's go to perspective. First perspective. There it is. I'm going to press R to scale it because it's huge. You can either go up here at the top and choose surfaces revolve, or you can always go to the surfaces and revolve here, which will give you this, which is kind of close, but not quite. Let me center this pivot again, center the pivot for the geometry, and now I'm going to tweak the curve, right? So obviously this is sticking out a little too much. That's a nice thing about this, is that I can go in and use my curves and tweak it, right? So that means I can make this a little bigger. I can make this a little thinner. That looks close enough. All right, so we're going to convert this into mesh. So let's go to modify, convert, NURBS to polygon options. I already know that this is in control points, but just double check. Center that pivot. There it is. And pet person number 3 is going to look just like it. Don't forget to delete the history, all that jazz. And what I'm going to do is, I know I have this little lip here, but I'm going to go ahead and delete it. And the purpose is because I need to extrude to make it have some thickness. So I'm going to select all of this. I'm going to do a Control E, and then I'm going to grab the blue one and push it out. So there's a little bit of thickness. And the purpose for that is because when I add the glass shader to it, it's going to look nicer. So I press the number 3, and there we go. They need to be in object mode. Mesh smooth, there we go. And then you can tweak the mesh if you choose to, but I also know that it needs to pour. Let me grab something that's a little easier to grab. So I'm gonna push this, bring this in, pull this out, and then grab these guys and also bring them in and then push them out, right? So that it looks like it's gonna pour. There we go. Now, usually with one of these, it has a wooden to hold it because the glass is gonna get hot. So I'm gonna duplicate this. Control D, and I'm going to grab some faces and delete the top faces and the bottom faces. All right, so now I've got these, so I'm going to double click the inside because we don't need it, and it wasn't a perfect cut, so just make sure everything's looking good. This section is actually cut, so let's go ahead and grab these, delete, delete, extrude, bring this out. And the nice thing is, because I froze up transformations earlier, I can change everything to 0 here, and there we go. Kind of collapses there. That's okay. I'm going to go ahead and grab some edges down here at the bottom as well. Control B. Creates your segments. There is a little bit of a rope around it, so again I'm going to use this, Control D. Why reinvent the wheel when it's already there and it's already has the shape and everything? So I'm going to go ahead and delete these guys. Don't forget all these faces. And honestly, I don't need that much. I need like maybe this, just like a row. Delete this part here. Probably needs to be a little bigger. So let's go ahead and center that pivot, make it bigger. Let's go to faces, double click, Control E. You might want to grab the blue one. This just means that it's extruding from a normal. And then zero it back. Bink. Focus. And now we have a little bit of a rope. Press 3 and it actually looks like a rope. So that's good. Cute. All right, let's make a circle. Snap it. This is way too big, too high poly. So let's reduce that to maybe a 12. I'm going to rotate this 90 degrees. Might still be a little too high poly. So let's drop this to 10. And the point of this one is for the rope, but it also has a hole. So let's delete these triangles. It's always better to have triangles than n-gons. Delete that. And we'll do the same thing to the other side. Delete that. And then we can bridge. So double click, bridge. You know, that's interesting. I kind of curled it. So what I'm going to do instead is just kind of bridge it at first like that. And then I should be able to bridge it normally. Yes. Okay. Sometimes it needs a little love. All right. There's our little, looks like an olive, but let's put it in here. And we might need to make this a little longer and poke it out like so. There we go. Ta-da. Cool. All right. I have not been labeling things. I've been really bad about this. Let's go ahead and group this together. Let's center that pivot. And let's go ahead and call this the pour over. All right. We're getting our coffee. Whoop. Let's scale it down dramatically. And we'll put it here. Let's rotate it so we can see it. Maybe grab another coffee. Let's see, I have a coffee cup. I just want these guys. Creep. This is just a coffee cup. All right, duplicate this one, Control D. Oop, center the pivot, snap it. Maybe scale it a little bit. And maybe scoot these over a little bit so it's more centered. And there we go. Let's see what we have so far. Orthographic, render cam. Oh, there's a big object in the sky. Let's go ahead and hide these. Let's try again. And there we go. We're getting our coffee shop. I do feel like I need some plants, like some succulents. Let's grab a cube. I know it's going to be weird. Like, why are you starting with a cube? Because I want to kind of create the shape of the leaf because succulents are kind of thick. So let's start with this. Let me focus. And I'm actually going to go to two views. I'm going to go into the orthographic view side view, which I think I'm already in. There it is. And I'm also going to scale this flat. So let's start off by grabbing the top face and we're going to extrude and lift. And we're going to make this pretty skinny. Extrude, lift, skinny. So you make sure that when you're scaling it, you're grabbing it from the side, not uniformly, because we don't want it to have thickness. We're just trying to do the silhouette right now. Then we're going to extrude a little bit more and bring it really thin. Maybe slightly curl it, because once I extrude again, I'm going to push this way and then really make it thin. Right, so doesn't look like much right now. You can always double click the edges and scale it. All right, now we're going to grab the bottom. Let's go ahead and grab the bottom and we're going to extrude. Just slightly increase it. Extrude it again. Bring it in. This is now we're going to start starting to form the arc. Here we go. Something like that. You can always press the number 3 and it's starting to look like a leaf with very little geometry. And now we're going to scale it really thin. Okay, now this is the fun part because leaves are pretty flat, but then it has a stem. So what we want to do is shift right click, insert edge loop tool, or grab the edge loop tool up here and just go ahead and create one in the center. Because what we're going to do is select the bottom face here, and we're going to click on this fancy button, which is square to circle, or any shape to circle. And you can see that it does a circle. Now I do want to scale it in because I want it to be thin, very thin, and then we're going to extrude again. And this time it's just going to be down. Extrude again, and as we get further in, we might make it a little thicker at the bottom. There we go. All right, I need to make this a little skinnier, so let's go ahead and go to object mode and make it a little skinnier. And then we do have inner edges, right? So there should be some sort of shaping, so we can grab these inner edges and just kind of nudge them in a little bit, just to give it a little bit of shape. And now not everything is evenly distributed, right? Because it's nature. So what we want to do is actually grab some of these and move it forward. Maybe this one can be moved a little forward. Maybe this can be pushed a little back. Just some sort of shaping for it so that it looks a little bit more organic. Just really very little things in nature that actually is a straight line. Actually, only man-made is straight. Okay. It's a little thick up here, I feel. So let me grab some vertices. Just gonna crush it a little bit. There we go. All right, so how do we shape this, right? So how do we put this in this planter, for example? I'm gonna hit D and put it down because what I wanna do is use this as a base for my object. So I'm gonna go ahead and center the pivot, all that jazz. And what I'm going to be using is a deformer. It's under animation, believe it or not. It's under deform, nonlinear, bend, and we're going to get this bend handle. I'm going to go ahead and focus here, and you can see that in the outliner we now have a bend handle, and we also have a bend input. And what's fun about this is that I go to my curvature, I can actually bend it, but you can see that it's bending in a weird way. So I need to rotate it. So I need to rotate the handle 90 degrees. Like so, but it also is bending the bottom portion, which I don't want. So that is the low bound. The low bound, if you change that to 0, you now have a bend a leaf. Now, if I want to make different types of curls, then I would say duplicate this one, right? So it's permanent. I'm going to nudge it to the side, and then I can go in, grab the bend deformer, and maybe I want to bend it even further. And I can grab the bend deformer and move it down. So I've got even a bigger curl. So then I can duplicate this one, Control D. Then I can grab this one again, and maybe I want to not have such a big curl. Don't want it to look exactly the same as this one. So maybe, and I could also rotate it slightly so that it's bending in a different way, right? So Control D. Right, so now I have these different types of looking leaves. I can also bring up. Let me rotate this back, and I can also go in and increase my curvature, but bring up the bend deformer, right? So then I can get a really nice curve at the top. You can always move it, right? Scale it. You can get a really nice big curl there, and then I can duplicate that one, right? So now I have a variety of leaves. So let's go ahead and grab this one. I'm going to group it and then hide it because now I have these and I can start placing them. Now they're really big right now, so I'm probably going to have to make them smaller, but let me just go ahead and start placing them here and scale down. Grab this one, bring it in, grab that one. Start off with the big chunks. There we go. And they seem enormous. So I'm going to go ahead and group them together, center that pivot, and then, whoop, it looks like I grabbed something. You see how I did that? That's a mistake. So let me undo that. Somehow I grabbed different ones. So let me try that again. Group, center pivot, move the pivot point, and I'm going to put it down here. Then I am going to scale them. And I might have made them a little big, but that's okay. Then I can nudge them around. Maybe grab another one, duplicate it, and bring this one down, make it smaller. You know, there's just so many things you can do. That's the thing about nature. It's so diverse. Unpredictable. Well, maybe a little predictable, but it's, you know, it's what makes it so much fun. So let's take a look at the orthographic view here. And now we have this planter. Pretty fun. All right, I'm going to create a circle here, and it's for the dirt. So let's go ahead and put it in here. I'm going to go to the top view. Whoops. Top view here, and reduce the sides, the subdivision to 2, because I don't need that much. Let's go back to perspective. There we go. And since I have this, I might as well duplicate it, Control D, and then snap it here, because this is going to be the coffee. All right. I do need some succulents at the top, so let me go ahead and duplicate this, Control D, parent it, and let me go ahead and call this succulent. Let's snap it up here, but obviously succulents are a little thicker and they also don't have this huge branch, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete those. And I'm going to scale it down, focus here, and I'm going to add them into this little cup. Let me make it a little thicker. Duplicate it. And there you have it. We now have a cat cafe. We have our scratching post, a cat bed, we have the plants, and so much more. So the next part is going to be to start texturing this 3D model. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Hopefully you learned a thing or two. If you did, please like and subscribe. That's your message to me, letting me know that you like this content and that you want to see more. Don't forget to share my videos. If you found this helpful and you feel like another 3D artist out there could find this helpful as well, please share my videos. That would be amazing. And also take a look at academicphoenixplus.com. There you can find free resources like ebooks, 3D models, and so much more. So take a look at academicphoenixplus.com. Again, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Keep creating, and I will see you next time as we start texturing this cat cafe.